welcome back to my channel. I hope you all enjoyed the behind the scenes video last week. I'm back this week with another recipe, but before I get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to Squarespace for supporting this video. Squarespace offer a unique platform to help create websites, online stores and domains, and you can check them out and take advantage of a unique offer code using the link in the description box below. Right, now for the recipe, and this is one that I've been really excited to share with you because it's one of my all-time favourite things, not just to cook, but also to eat. And it is my recipe for raised donuts, and it's brilliant. I've tinkered with a lot of donut recipes over the years, and I think I've nailed it with this one. The first thing that we need to do is to melt our fats. I have 35 grams of vegetable shortening and 35 grams of butter in this bowl, and I'm going to pour over some milk which I've just brought to the boil. There's about 375 millilitres of whole milk. And that's going to melt the butter in the shortening, and I'm just going to stir it around until that's completely melted. Now, because this needs to be at a lukewarm temperature before we use it, I'm going to just set it to one side and come back in 10 minutes to get on with the rest. Okay, so that's nice and sort of hand hot at the moment, which is brilliant. And the next thing to do is to activate my yeast. So I have 75 millilitres of warm water here, and it's really important that the water is between 35 and 45 degrees Celsius. If it's too cold, the yeast won't activate, and if it's too hot, it will just kill the yeast. So in between those two temperatures is just right. And I have 3 teaspoons of quick yeast, and I'm going to sprinkle that over the top of the water and then leave it to sit for 5 minutes. My yeast is activated, it's gone kind of frothy on the top, a bit like a beer head, which is exactly as we want it. And I'm going to put that into the bowl of my mixer, and it's got just a regular paddle attachment on it at the moment. I'm also going to put in my now lukewarm butter and milk mixture. I also have 50 grams of caster sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, half a teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of mace, and that's all going in as well. I've also got 2 large free-range eggs, and I've already put about half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You don't need to use vanilla, but I quite like the tiny amount of flavour that it gives the donuts. And then lastly, I have 660 grams of strong white bread flour. I'm going to put half of that in and get this thing going. So just start the mixer on a slow speed, and then once it starts to come together, turn it up to medium and then beat that together for about a minute. So once that's had a minute, you can then put the rest of your flour in and do the same thing, starting on low and then bumping it up to medium. Right, so you can see it's starting to look much more like a dough, but now it's time to switch up my paddle to the dough hook so that it works its way around properly. So I'm just going to, with my fingers, just get this dough off the paddle and then swap them around. Now I'm going to beat that together with my dough hook for about 5 minutes, and what I'm going to be looking for at the end is when the dough sort of comes away from the bowl and is a bit more sort of doughy. Okay, it's ready. It's very dough-like, it's very sticky, but it is absolutely fine. If you feel like it's too sticky, then do put some more flour in, like 50 grams at a time, but make sure you mix it in really well before you go on with the next bit. And the next bit is to put it into an oiled bowl. So just get it all off your dough hook. And I've already greased my bowl with a bit of vegetable oil, and I'm going to just put all of that dough into my bowl. Now you need to leave that to rise for 1 hour in a kind of warm, cozy place. Just cover it with a tea towel or with cling film, just kind of loosely, or you can actually leave this to rise overnight if you put it in the fridge, and that will rise it really slowly. My dough has been rising for an hour, and as you can see, it has doubled in size. Come and have a look. And not only has it doubled in size, it's gone really kind of stringy and elasticy, which is brilliant. That's exactly as we want it. So now I just need to turn it onto a very floured worktop and give it a knead. Now it's time to roll it out, and I'm going to flour my rolling pin so that it doesn't stick, and roll it out till it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. Right, now it is time to chomp out my donut shape. So I've got 2 different round cookie cutters, one to chomp out the whole thing and one to chomp out the middle, and I'm gonna get going. And I have 2 baking sheets which I've really liberally floured, and I'm now going to just pop those on there. Now, for goodness sake, don't throw these little donut holes away because they are like your little treat when you're frying. So put those on the sheets as well. And you can re-roll this leftover dough if you want, but probably only just once. Now that they're all chomped out, they're ready to rise. And this is really easy if you live in a hot tropical country because they need sort of moisture and warmth. But if you don't have a tropical country like me, I'm gonna recreate that situation in my oven. So I've got my oven which is off. I've got this dish which has got freshly boiled water in it, and I'm gonna put them all in there together, and it's gonna create this hot box for proving. While my donuts were proving in the oven, I put on my fat fryer. I did it about 10 minutes before these needed to come out of the oven, just to give the oil time to get up to temperature. And I'm frying these at 365 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 190 degrees Celsius. And it's really important that you have it at the right temperature, otherwise they're just not gonna cook properly. So these have gone all plump and chubby, as I wanted. So now it is time to plop them into the oil. Now obviously, be very, very careful when using hot oil. If you have a fat fryer like this, then just follow the manufacturer's instructions. Every fryer is a little bit different, but at all times be super duper careful because you do not want to get hot oil on you. I can attest to that. So to get these off, though sometimes they can be a little bit sticky, I've actually got a little dough scraper here and I've floured it, and now I can sort of shuffle it on. So I'd normally, because I've got a small fryer, I normally don't do more than 2 at a time because otherwise it gets really crowded and they can't kind of do their thing in there. But either way, just very, very carefully pop it into the basket. And then drop them into the oil and do them on both sides for 1 minute. So they've had a minute on both sides and they're lovely and golden. You can take them out, and I've got a tray here with some kitchen paper towel just to get rid of some of the excess grease. I'm going to pop them on there. And just keep going. Your little balls of dough probably won't need quite a full minute on both sides. And if your donuts have risen a little bit too much, like there's a couple here that are a little bit fat, then they might need a little bit longer. But just use your eyes and just look for the golden colour and you should be fine. I really love making donuts because I think even with bread as well, like there's something really magical about the way that it kind of puffs up and rises and the yeast makes it all kind of explode. It's really, really fun. If you find that some of your donuts have stuck together, either in the rise or just kind of when you've been shuffling them around, and remove them from each other very, very carefully, because if you pull them apart and stretch them, you're going to knock out all the air that they've been creating in the oven and they'll just go really horrible. So that's all my donuts fried and ready, but now we need to glaze them. But I'm just going to clear the decks a little bit. With your oil, you can reuse that a couple of times. What I normally do is let it cool down completely so that all the sediment goes to the bottom of my pan, and then I put it through a filter back into the bottles that they came from, and then I can reuse them a couple of times. It saves a lot of oil, so that's good. So now I'm going to wait for these to cool down, and I'm going to get on with making the glaze. It's nearly time to eat the donuts, but first we can put a glaze on them, which will make them taste even better and look slightly shiny, which is really good. So I've got a bowl here with some sifted icing sugar. There's 400 grams already in there. I'm going to add to that 2 teaspoons of golden syrup. You can use liquid glucose or corn syrup if you can't find this stuff. And a pinch of salt, and then a little drop of vanilla extract. and then 90 millilitres of just boiled water. And all I need to do now is whisk it together. And if you glaze it now while the glaze is still warm, it'll create that really nice thin layer of glaze, but you can leave it to cool a little bit if you want it to be a bit thicker, but I'm just gonna go ahead and dip them right now. It's nearly time to eat them, but I just wanted to show you how fluffy they are inside. Come and have a little look. Whoa, pillowy and fluffy and so squishy. Oh, I can't wait to eat these, but you know how I don't like eating with my mouth full, so I'm gonna save it for later. But thanks so much for watching. I hope this recipe becomes one of your favourite donut recipes, or just the favourite donut recipe, and you never have to go to another donut recipe again. I will be back next week. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And before I go, I just want to say another quick thank you to Squarespace for supporting this video. If you've been thinking about building a website or an online store for your business, or if you just want to show off your baking creations but you don't have a clue where to start, then you should go and check out Squarespace. Squarespace makes it really easy to build websites, online stores and domains with their award-winning designer templates and 24/7 customer support to help you out if you get in a pickle. Go and check them out at squarespace.com. There's a free trial so you can have a little go, and also if you enter the offer code Jemma, then you'll get a 10% discount on your first purchase. Go and make your next move with Squarespace, and I'll see you next week. Bye! Let's try again.